And right at the bottom of that star-shaped crater is the mob's headquarters, Mon Star's fortress.
Back in the 1980s, SilverHawks looked just like another shiny Saturday morning cartoon. Space cops with metal wings, fighting moon-powered villains. But beneath that chrome armor was a story way darker than anyone realized. About losing your humanity, Cold War fears, and the cost of becoming partly metal, partly real. So dust off your old DVDs, dust off those VHS tapes, and get ready to see SilverHawks like never before. Also, check out the description for the DVD link and hit that super thanks to show us some love. Trust me, once you learn what was really hiding behind those silver suits, you'll never watch it the same way again. And don't forget to hit like, drop a comment with your favorite character, and subscribe for more deep dives into classic 80s cartoons. 1. The birth of SilverHawks.
Partly metal, partly real.
Back in 1986, when cartoons were wild, weird, and way ahead of their time, SilverHawks flew onto TV screens, and no one had ever seen anything like it. Imagine a team of heroes who weren't just people, and not just robots either. They were partly metal, partly real. Sounds cool, right? But here's the twist. This all started because of one terrifying criminal, Mon Star. When this guy escaped from a space prison called Penal Planet 10, the galaxy was in big trouble. And it wasn't an ordinary escape either. He broke out during a starburst, using the power of Limbo's Mon Star to transform into a huge armored monster. When he shouted, "Mon Star of Limbo, give me the might, the muscle, the menace of Mon Star," every kid watching felt that chill. Commander Stargazer, the bionic cop who had caught Mon Star before, sent an urgent message to Earth. His old enemy was free again, and this time, he wasn't alone. Mon Star built his own gang of space criminals, like Molecular, who could shapeshift into anything, and Melodia, the rock star villain whose evil keytar could blast sound waves strong enough to shatter metal. He even had a bull-headed brute named Mumbo Jumbo, and a weapons genius named Hardware. Together they planned to take over the Limbo Galaxy. But Earth wasn't just going to sit back and watch. Commander Stargazer needed a new kind of hero, people who could fight in deep space. So, scientists created the SilverHawks. The team leader, Jonathan Quick, became Quicksilver, a fast, fearless ex-space cop. Then came the twin engineers, Steelheart and Steel Will, who shared a powerful connection. They could literally feel each other's pain. There was Bluegrass, a space cowboy pilot with a flying guitar, and the Copper Kid, a math genius from the planet of the Mimes who spoke in whistles instead of words. Together, they became Earth's ultimate defense team. Their home base was the Hawk Haven space station, and their ride? A sleek starship called the Mirage. But these heroes didn't just have cool names and fancy suits. They had metal wings, jet thrusters on their elbows, and hearts that glowed like engines. Before leaving Earth, they trained hard, even replacing their real hearts with steel ones when their bodies couldn't handle the upgrades. When the Mirage launched for Limbo, fans everywhere knew something epic was about to happen. And here's a fun fact. SilverHawks was originally supposed to be a spin-off of ThunderCats. That's right, the same people who gave us Lion-O and Mumra wanted to take their cat warriors into space. But the idea grew into its own universe. Even the theme song, composed by John L. Stallworthy, became unforgettable. A mix of rock and synth that still gets stuck in fans' heads today. And yes, there's even talk of a SilverHawks remake still buzzing around since 2021. Would you watch it if it came back? 2. The dark concept.
Mon Star of Limbo, give me a might.
Now, here's where things get darker than most people remember. Sure, SilverHawks looked like a colorful space adventure for kids, but under all that shiny metal was a story about body transformation, identity, and what it really means to be real. Commander Stargazer was a literal cyborg cop, old and tired, but still holding the galaxy together. He'd captured Mon Star once and paid the price. Half his body was mechanical, his eye replaced with a telescopic lens. He wasn't just a commander, he was the last cop from a world that had already given up. When Mon Star escaped, Stargazer didn't call for more soldiers. He called for volunteers, people who were willing to give up their human bodies to become something more, or maybe something less. Quicksilver, Steelheart, Steelwill, Bluegrass, and the Copper Kid all agreed to undergo a process that fused metal to flesh, creating beings that could survive the void of space. Their tagline, partly metal, partly real, wasn't just catchy, it was unsettling. These heroes sacrificed their humanity to stop a monster who had done the same. Each SilverHawk was designed for a purpose. Quicksilver was the perfect leader. Fast, tactical, always calm. Steelheart and Steelwill were the team's brains and brawn, bound by emotion and shared pain. Bluegrass couldn't fly like the others, but he didn't need to. His ship, the Mirage, was practically alive under his touch. And then there was the Copper Kid, the silent prodigy, a mime with numbers in his head, learning the universe one whistle at a time. Even Mon Star's transformation had a disturbing twist. He wasn't born a monster, he became one every time the Moonstar's light hit him, growing spikes, armor, and fury. He rode Skyrunner, a giant space squid that tried to kill him before he bent it to his will. His gang wasn't just a bunch of weird villains, they were metaphors for corruption and power. Hardware built weapons that could destroy planets. Melodia's music wasn't art, it was chaos. And Molecular could become anyone, a shapeshifter who blurred the line between identity and deception. The tone of the show was darker than ThunderCats. It was stylish, yes, but full of danger and loss. Even the villains had tragic hints. Windhammer, the Storm Master, didn't just control the weather, he controlled destruction. Every episode felt like a space opera wrapped in toy commercials. But behind the shiny armor and laser battles, SilverHawks was quietly asking, how much of yourself would you give up to save the world? And get this, Commander Stargazer's first name was Sin Man. Seriously, Sin Man Stargazer. Even that sounds like a name straight out of a sci-fi noir novel. The show wasn't afraid to mix heroic fantasy with something eerily human. Maybe that's why fans who rewatch it today realize it wasn't just a cartoon about space cops. It was about sacrifice. 3. The voice cast.
You're Quicksilver, right?
Yes, sir, that's right.
Oh, can the sir stuff, Lieutenant?
If you grew up in the 80s, you might have recognized the voices without even realizing it. SilverHawks had one of the most star-studded voice casts in cartoon history. Many ThunderCats voice actors returned. Larry Kenney, Peter Newman, Bob McFadden, and Earl Hammond, all legends in animation. Kenny, who voiced Lion-O, now became Bluegrass, the smooth-talking cowboy pilot with a guitar that fired lasers. His charm gave the team its heart. Peter Newman, the voice behind Tigra and Wily Cat in ThunderCats, became Quicksilver, Mumbo Jumbo, and Time Stopper. His range made Quicksilver sound both heroic and grounded, the perfect leader for a team made of half humans and half machines. Bob McFadden, known for voicing Snarf and Count Chocula, brought Commander Stargazer to life. His gruff, world-weary voice gave the bionic cop a believable mix of strength and sadness. You could almost hear the years of battle in every word he said. But here's the surprise most fans miss. Christopher Latta, the voice behind Starscream from Transformers and Cobra Commander from G.I. Joe, originally voiced Mon Star. That's right, the same man who made Starscream's shriek so iconic also gave Mon Star his menacing growl. Once you hear it, you can't unhear it. And another fun twist, the actors who voiced Steelheart and Steelwill were real-life siblings. Their natural bond made their characters' psychic connection feel even more authentic. Every time one of them got hurt, the other's reaction didn't just sound acted, it sounded real. Later in the series, fans met Hotwing, one of the first black superheroes ever to appear in an 80s cartoon. He was a magician with literal flame powers, a rare and powerful addition that broke new ground for representation in animation. Earl Hammond, meanwhile, brought the darkness. His booming voice as Mon Star, and later as Mumra in ThunderCats, was unforgettable. He could turn a simple line into a villainous opera. When he growled, "Moonstar of Limbo, give me the might," you didn't just hear evil, you felt it. This cast didn't just fill roles, they created a soundscape that defined an era of Saturday morning cartoons. Every voice, from Bluegrass's easy southern drawl to Mon Star's galactic roar, made SilverHawks soar beyond being just another toy show. 4. The toy line that sank the show.
And right at the bottom of that star-shaped crater is the mob's headquarters, Mon Star's fortress.
Back in the late 1980s, if you wanted a cartoon to survive, it needed toys on the shelves. That was the golden rule. SilverHawks had the looks, the lasers, and the wings. But when the toys finally arrived, something strange happened. They didn't sell, and that's what doomed the show. Unlike ThunderCats or Tiger Sharks, whose toys came from LJN, SilverHawks got picked up by Kenner. Yes, the same company behind Star Wars figures and Play-Doh. Sounds like a dream, right? But it turned out to be a curse in shiny disguise. Kenner launched the SilverHawks toy line in 1987, a year after the show aired, and only ran it for about 1 year before quietly pulling the plug. The first wave looked incredible, literally chrome from head to toe. Each figure shimmered like polished steel. Quicksilver came with his bird Tallyhawk, Steelheart with Razor, and Bluegrass with his guitar bird Sideman. Even the villains were loaded with accessories. Mon Star had Sky Shadow, Buzzsaw came with Shredditor, and Molecular could bend and twist just like in the cartoon. Kenner even planned a full Hawkhaven playset, complete with launching hot seat pods and missiles. But it never hit the shelves. It only appeared in the 1986 Toy Fair catalog, teasing fans who would never own it. Wave 2 followed in 1987, but things got messy. By then, the cartoon's ratings were already dipping. Still, Kenner pushed out new heroes like Moonstriker and Condor, plus villains like Hardware and Windhammer. They even tried something bold, ultrasonic suits. Quicksilver, Steel Will, Bluegrass, and Copper Kid were reimagined with new metallic armor and weapons that lit up or launched discs. 2 figures, Ultrasonic Copper Kid and Ultrasonic Mon Star, were shown in prototype form but never released. They're collector legends now, with their photos in the old Toy Fair catalogs being the only proof they ever existed. But here's the problem. Those shiny toys looked amazing on day 1, and terrible on day 2. The beautiful chrome finish that made them so eye-catching also made them fragile. Kids quickly learned that one play session meant scuffs, scratches, and flakes of metal paint peeling away to reveal dull yellow plastic underneath. Imagine saving up your allowance for a hero that literally rusted in your hands. Not cool. Meanwhile, the competition was fierce. G.I. Joe figures were cheaper, tougher, and came with vehicles that actually worked. Transformers could switch from robot to car. Even He-Man had muscle power and bright colors. Next to them, SilverHawks toys were expensive, fragile, and a little too shiny for their own good. The chrome finish that was supposed to make them stand out ended up being their downfall. Kenner released the toys in America first, followed by Canada, the UK, France, South Korea, Mexico, and Argentina. Some of those international versions even had their own card art, black space backgrounds, French labels, and bilingual packaging. But even with the global reach, sales never took off. By 1988, the toy line was gone. And without toy money to keep it flying, SilverHawks crashed after just 1 season and 65 episodes. So yes, in a strange twist of fate, the toys that were supposed to save SilverHawks ended up sinking it instead. 5. Surprisingly violent. Now, if you re-watch SilverHawks today, you might be surprised by how dark it really was. On the surface, it looked like a Saturday morning superhero cartoon. Metallic heroes fighting colorful villains in space. But dig a little deeper, and it was more RoboCop than He-Man. Every episode was filled with laser battles, torn armor, and villains that looked straight out of nightmares. There was Hardware, the evil mechanic who built weapons for the mob, and Windhammer, the quiet storm master, who used a giant tuning fork to summon destruction. The bad guys weren't goofy, they were scary. Even the heroes weren't safe. When their armor cracked, it exposed what looked like flesh underneath. A weird, disturbing reminder that these were humans trapped inside metal bodies. And the show didn't shy away from showing pain. When Steel Will got hit, Steelheart felt it. Their bond made for powerful storytelling, but also made every fight hurt twice as much. One episode in particular shocked fans, when Mon Star turned his monstrous eye on a helpless space creature, draining its energy just to power up his transformation. The creature cried out as the Moon Star light hit him, a scene that was more horror than hero. It was moments like that made parents raise eyebrows and kids cover their eyes. So while other cartoons were teaching lessons about friendship, SilverHawks was showing the cost of heroism in a cold, metallic world. 6. The Legacy.
Hut 1, Hut 2, alley-oop.
Even though SilverHawks flew too close to the sun, it never really disappeared. Over time, it became one of those hidden gems that fans couldn't forget. The theme song still slaps, the designs still look futuristic, and collectors still hunt down every surviving figure, even the scratched ones. In 2021, the collectible company Super 7 brought SilverHawks back with brand new figures. No more fragile chrome, just high-quality metallic paint that wouldn't peel off. The company even released both Ultimate and Reaction lines, giving fans a chance to finally complete their childhood collections. Then came the news that made fans lose their minds. The Nacelle Company announced a SilverHawks reboot. Imagine the same classic team, Quicksilver, Bluegrass, Steelheart, and the rest, rendered in modern animation with better effects and deeper storytelling. Nothing official has aired yet, but the rumor alone sparked excitement across fan forums. Meanwhile, comic publisher Dynamite Entertainment launched a SilverHawks series in 2025, expanding the lore and exploring what happened after the original show ended. What makes SilverHawks endure isn't just nostalgia, it's the heart beneath the metal. Kids who watched it back in 1986 are adults now, and they remember how it made them feel. Amazed, a little scared, and totally hooked. The blend of sci-fi and crime drama, the mix of chrome and soul, it all felt ahead of its time. 7. Hidden Meanings.
Prepare to launch.
Ready!
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 Release.
Okay, let's be real. On the surface, SilverHawks looked like just another flashy 80s cartoon about space cops with shiny armor. But if you look closer, there's a lot more going on under all that chrome. The show quietly wrestled with some surprisingly heavy ideas. Stuff like losing your humanity to machines, the fear of becoming what you're fighting, and the cost of progress in a world obsessed with technology. Yeah, deep stuff for a toy commercial. Think about it. The SilverHawks are partly metal, partly real. That's not just a cool tagline. It's a question. How much of yourself can you replace before you stop being you? Quicksilver, the leader, literally gives up his human body to become a metal enforcer in space. In the comic reboot, he even loses parts of his memory, like RoboCop before RoboCop. And the twins, Steelheart and Steelwill, they don't just share a psychic bond, they share mechanical hearts. Imagine trading your own heart for a machine just to keep fighting evil. It's powerful and kinda tragic. Even the show's villains mirror this theme. Mon Star draws his power from moonlight, transforming into a mechanical monster. Both sides, heroes and villains, use technology, but for totally different reasons. The SilverHawks use it to protect. Mon Star uses it to dominate. And that balance between control and corruption feels straight out of the Cold War playbook, where both sides were racing to build more powerful machines and weapons, convinced their version of order was the right one. Then there's the surveillance angle. Tallyhawk, the team's mechanical bird, isn't just a sidekick, it's a flying spy satellite. Quicksilver controls it from his wrist, watching enemies across galaxies. Back in the 80s, when computers were just entering homes and people were getting nervous about being watched, that was a big deal. It's like the show was already predicting a world where every hero needs a camera in the sky. And let's not forget representation. Hotwing, one of the first black heroes in 80s cartoons, stood out in a genre dominated by white leads. Bluegrass, the guitar-playing cowboy, and Copper Kid, the mute acrobat from another planet, were total misfits, but together they made the team stronger. It's a quiet message about diversity long before cartoons were expected to carry one. 8. The 80s sci-fi cartoon era.
Wow, sure is homey.
You're Quicksilver, right?
Yes, sir.
To really get SilverHawks, you have to see where it came from. The 80s were wild for sci-fi cartoons. Networks wanted shows that sold toys and made kids feel smart. That's why SilverHawks flew alongside series like Brave Star, Galaxy Rangers, and Bionic 6. All of them mixed science fiction with heart, and all quietly asked what happens when humans merge with machines. Brave Star gave us a cowboy cop with the strength of a bear and the eyes of a hawk. Galaxy Rangers mixed westerns and robots before Firefly made it cool. And Bionic 6 turned a regular family into a team of cybernetic heroes. SilverHawks was their shiny cousin, the one that dared to go full space opera, complete with rock guitars, robotic wings, and cosmic mobsters. Back then, these shows were dismissed as toy commercials. But now, adults are re-watching them and realizing they were weirdly profound. Beneath the cheesy dialogue and chrome armor were questions about who we are, what makes us human, and how far we'd go to protect our world. Maybe that's why SilverHawks still sticks with people. It wasn't just a show about flying heroes. It was a reflection of the decade's biggest fears and dreams hidden under a layer of metal shine. They don't make shows like SilverHawks anymore. Shiny, strange, and packed with hidden meaning beneath the action. What looked like a simple cartoon was really a mirror for the fears and dreams of the 80s. Maybe that's why it still sticks with fans today. So what do you think? Toy ad or secret masterpiece? Drop your thoughts below, hit like, and subscribe for more nostalgic deep dives. Don't forget to show us love with super thanks and check out the description for the link to the DVD to relive all the fun. Until then, see you next time.